welcome everyone to another episode of the Worldwide Soccer Podcast. My name is Simon Allen. I'm the Dalai Lama of soccer. Welcome. Folks, I just hope you've been tuning in to this particular podcast. You know, when I first started, there were like 3 podcasts. Now there's like 3 million soccer podcasts. So, you know, my listenership went from, let's say, 20,000 people to anyway 6 or 7, and sometimes when there's a nice guest on, you know, it's like 9 or 10. So, you know, you have to branch out. Finally, I've been branching out, doing this, the FoodBall show and Bangers and Match and everything. So I'm hoping everyone out there has been watching that as well. And you've all been emailing me, telling me, where the hell is Phil Mitchell these days? Well, guess what? He's on the other line, and he's on the Worldwide Soccer Podcast, and we're going to be talking about some soccer. Welcome back to the show, Phil.
Hey, what's up, Simon? What's going on down in L.A.?
It's hot as hell. I went for a little jog, and I went by some club soccer, you know, training sessions because, you know, I'm really I like doing that. And I just figured out why soccer in America is not going anywhere. That's another story altogether. What's going on in Portland, man? I hear good things about PDX Timbers.
You know, some good things are happening. I mean, they're on the upswing. They did not start the season good at all. I mean, it was like, oh man, who's this Savarese guy? I mean, he's just a big talker. You know what I mean? And now the team's starting to get things put together.
Yep.
They've put together some wins. I mean, that the away win down in San Jose was a tough match. And if you followed the Timbers over the last few years, you'll realize that they played pretty bad in Avaya Stadium, like every match.
Yeah.
So to come out with 3 points was a pretty big deal. Yeah, and you know, they've got the luxury of a week break versus Seattle.
Yeah.
Who had to play against Toronto. So
that was a good match for
getting a win. And
that was a good match for Seattle, though. I must admit.
And so this weekend's match in Portland against Seattle is going to be pretty interesting.
Yeah.
The 100th time they've met.
Wow.
In competition, and so it's a big deal. Well, history shows that, you know, Seattle's won the majority of them. You know, this is a different season with a different story. Sometimes I recall having the first match of the year where, you know, the Timbers are in the cellar, and then the Sounders are just above them, like on a hot streak. So the tides have turned a little bit. The big question I want to have about the Timbers is, will they still be able to have the chops to put things together for wins in the event of Ego Chara getting a card or a suspension? If I don't know where he's at on the list, but let's just say he takes one for the team and gets the boot. Well, then that could very well affect their next match.
Well, let me
really interested to see, you know, just what Savarese does. But, you know, to be honest, there's something that I'm more interested in MLS, and I think I know you're going to ask me about.
Well, let me just pat myself on the back. When we were talking at the beginning of the season about Major League Soccer, I said six matches is the shaking the rust off period, right? And that's been my theory from pretty much day one, right? I mean, it was 6 weeks, and then we figure out what's wrong with the team. So the 6th match the Timbers played Minnesota United, they had not won a match. They had not won matches 1 through 5. The 6th match was against Minnesota United FC at Portland. Portland won 3-2. That was the 6th match, and they haven't lost yet. All right. So not only was that, you know, it was also quite honestly, it was an own goal in that one, I remember. But so I think Savarese, it could be the real deal, right? I mean, let's think about it. He figured out the team in 5 matches, shook the rust off Simon Allen, Dalai Lama of soccer theory style on the 6th match, beat New York City FC at home, beat San Jose Earthquakes away. That is not a shabby thing. And now, going into the 100th match against Seattle Sounders at home, I got to think that Portland might be favorites.
You know, they could, but, you know, I mean, with this matchup, I mean, it's so hard to predict what happens.
Right.
I mean, you know, there was that one match where, you know, Freddie Montero, like, was coming off of an injury so they could put him in for limited minutes, and literally his first touch was a goal.
Yeah.
So, you know, you might have these rivalry events happen that could just completely alter the, you know, the way that the game ends. You know, you also have, like, the infamous, you know, whatever it is, amount of second goals that Roger Levesque had for Seattle.
Yeah.
So, but on the flip side, you know, the Timbers have Diego Valeri.
Yeah.
And you never know what that guy's going to do next. So.
Yeah. Yeah, he's becoming quite the, what has he got, 4 goals this season already? You know, he's scoring every other game almost. So.
I mean, if you look at that spot kick that he took to win the game, I mean, it's almost like he knew exactly where he was going to put it. Like, I mean, if you just watch the whole like body language that he's showing, it's almost like he knew he was putting that in the goal.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way, based off of the way I saw him hit it, he thought that it was off frame, and it just went straight in. I mean, he made it look too easy.
And I got to say that Sebastian Blanco has been, you know, really very quite good, hasn't he? He's been. I've been very impressed with that small midfielder.
I was kind of disappointed with his performance last season.
Yeah.
I was thinking, like, man, this guy's got to step it up. Like, you know, he came into town with this kind of swagger and reputation, and it didn't really live up to it. And I'm actually pretty satisfied.
I am too.
To see what he's been able to do. You know.
I'm happy with his performances so far. You know, compared to last year. So we'll see.
Well, remember, I was at the game against New York.
Right.
And the goal that Blanco got was one of those, like, you know, a goal is a goal. It counts, right?
Yeah.
But it's the shortest guy on the field.
Yeah.
Does this weird kind of header that you can tell he was purposely just trying to get it on frame. Maybe someone else was getting it. And then, you know, Sean Johnson and the guy covering the far post look at each other while the ball goes in the net.
Yeah.
So, you know, it was one of those fluke goals that, hey, it counts. But that's pretty much how they won.
Yeah. No, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Let's. I totally want to give the coach all the credit in the world because I want him to succeed.
That was it was a blowout. I haven't been to a Timbers game where I left that satisfied and impressed. From a soccer fan perspective, I've just seen a solid match play.
Yeah. I'm just unhappy I'm not seeing Benchy.
Well, I'm not sure if he's injured or what, but remember I told you I ran into him, you know, in the hallway over by where you can go get a burger.
Yeah.
And he just seemed to be in your typical soccer supporter clothing. I think maybe there's got to be an injury or something.
Yeah.
But, you know, I feel, to be honest, that with what's going on with the club, it's really hard to tell. I mean, you know, was Liam really injured? Was there problems really going on with the coach?
Mm-hmm.
Like, they mentioned that there was a bit of an injury that was, like, training related, but then there were those away matches where Ridgewell did not travel.
Yeah.
And it was almost kind of like, what's going on here? And so I'm wondering if, like, we're seeing the same thing with Vitas.
Yeah.
Is this really like an injury, or is this like he's having a hard time competing against, you know, lesser experienced players than he, and they're getting picked based off of what appears to be, you know, a solid performance the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. That's you know, he was a pivotal player last season. I don't know what changed other than the manager. So,
well, you know, when the 4 guys that were playing against New York shut down David Villa like they did, and if Vitas wasn't on the pitch, so the credit's going somewhere else. Yeah, and they're going to take that further on into the season, and if he's not able to get things turned around, even if he is injured, so you know some guys get injured and then they just don't get that mojo back.
Yeah, true.
So, if he's not able to get that time back, I mean, he's probably right for the pickings to be replaced for some more player development. I just don't see how someone with his price could not be playing.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that I think a lot of people are going to be looking at, going, well, a lot of people at Portland Timber fans were like, well, Ridgie's not doing well, but Benchy was doing well, and now suddenly, but Ridgie's being sort of looked at as the leader, and he's getting games, but Benchy isn't. So
there were people behind the scenes in the rumor mill pretty much saying things like, "Oh, Ridgewell's out, like gone. We'll never see him again," kind of stuff. And I was like,
well, that's bullshizzle.
Hold on here. I mean, I can see that happening because they did that to Bill Kelso Vest, but I just didn't see this happening to him.
No. That's just stupidity on people's part. Ridgewell has like 2 bad games, and suddenly he's an old English guy that doesn't deserve to be in America. And it's like, get that stick out of your ass, and and just relax. English players coming into United States of America playing top tier soccer are usually a lot better than anyone gives them credit for, because I don't know, inferiority complex or just plain stupidity. Ridgewell has a couple of crap games. Granted, everyone has a couple of crap games. Beckham had a couple of crap games. Clint Dempsey has a couple of crap games. You just don't go after the guy who, especially a defender that's a couple of games he's out. He's still, quite honestly, one of the better defenders in the league, albeit a bit controversial with some of the off-field antics and stuff like that. But the rumor mill. What happens is that some guy goes, man, he sucks. I'm gonna go talk to the guy and talk to the front office, because I know the head cleaner that cleans the toilets at the stadium. I'm gonna go talk to the front office and have him kicked out of the team. And suddenly some drunk guy goes, yeah, I heard that. And then someone goes, yeah, that's true, yeah, and it goes down the line. In reality, most people, they don't know the art of defense, and they certainly don't know how to be a soccer player. And let's be honest, Ridgewell, for everyone who gives him a lot of shit for, he's a player that has played in England in top tier, right? I mean, I'm not making the stuff up, right? That takes an incredible amount of talent to play, incredible amount of skill to play in the top level in any country. He's come over here, and suddenly he's just become the scapegoat. Oh, Portland loses? Blame Ridgewell. Well, no one ever blames Chara, do they, when Portland loses, right? No one blames... Go ahead.
No. I mean, Chara is probably, if not the most popular player, besides Valeri. I mean, he's wildly considered to be this almost untouchable guy. You can't say anything bad about him. I mean, if you try, people go, whatever. That's what he's supposed to do. So if you complain about how he hacks a little bit and plays dirty, and
that's what I do.
and then they say, well, that's kind of what he's supposed to do, and it's like, I hate it when people start legitimizing that as the way that players have to play in the sport. I don't think that he's a dirty player. I think he just does stupid stuff once in a while.
Yeah. Well, let's talk. Yeah, I mean,
why that's what he's supposed to do means there's intent and he's dirty. I don't consider him a dirty player. He might be sloppy, but
yeah. I'm not a big fan of his, to be honest with you, and that you can go on record and see what I did, over the years. I'm not a huge fan. Let's put it that way. But let's talk about something that is going to be, well, a lot of people are talking about, and that is the fact that we can talk about it because I think it's going to happen. England international Wayne Rooney, currently playing his trade in the Premiership with Everton, is more than likely on his way to DC United. And a lot of people are talking about it, and I'll put it out there as the basis of this topic. A lot of people wrongly are claiming that's bad for Major League Soccer because they don't know they really don't know anything about football, which again I'm being very, very mean about it, or they have some sort of a dislike for English players coming, even though almost all the English players that are coming have done pretty well. Going for about $16.2 million, and I say that's cheap. And I say it's it's absolutely very, very good for DC United. Let's hear your take on it, Phil.
Well, for you saying that it's cheap, I would say possibly. I looked at Transfermarkt earlier today,
right?
And he's valued at around 15 million euros. So I mean, $16 million, 16.2. That sounds pretty good based off of what this one source says.
Right.
But let's start being like more MLS centric though. Has there ever been a transfer that expensive?
Well, probably not. Probably not that expensive, but
I mean, Clint Dempsey was $9 million.
Right. Well, $9 million for a listen. Let's be honest. Okay. I mean, I'll take that as fact. Okay. $9 million for Clint Dempsey, who essentially is an American international, right? Whose biggest accomplishment has been going to Europa with Fulham and losing the final, sitting on the bench with Tottenham and coming and getting a payday in the United States. What do you say? 9 million? Okay. All right.
9 million.
9 million. So let's say, what is a guy who's won, with Manchester United? Okay. What do you give a guy who's won with Manchester United, the FA Cup, the Premier League, I'm trying to think of the Charity Shield or whatever it's called now. So the Premier League, 5 times, the FA Cup once, the League Cup 3 times, the Community Shield 4 times, UEFA Champions League, Europa League, FIFA World Club Cup, Player of the Year, Player of the Year, European Under-17 Championship Golden Player, Golden Boy Awards, Premier League Player of the Month, multiple years, multiple months, FIFA Club World Cup Most Valuable Players. What do you give a guy, how much do you think, comparing it to Clint Dempsey, do you think that Wayne Rooney is worth with just that kind of CV, that kind of resume?
I don't think that you can compare the two.
Well, no, we have to because
how much they thought. I'm just showing you that the league has a precedent of paying millions of dollars for certain players that are, let's be honest, it was inevitable once Clint got here that his career was going to be shorter than people thought. And if we look at what's going on now, he's still around, but they'll still even admit they don't even know what his role is in Seattle.
Right.
So
no, but
so
let me. But no, that's
Rooney, how many more years does he have left in him?
Well, no, you've made a point that $9 million has been the thing for Clint Dempsey, right? And I sort of
just sure that has there been anything more expensive? I don't know.
Okay, well, but again, we're going to assume that maybe that's the most expensive. Okay, so Wayne Rooney is the all-time top scorer for Manchester United. You're a Manchester United fan, right?
Oh yeah.
He's the all-time top.
And I'm not suggesting 16 million's too much or too little. I'm just wondering where's the money coming from? This is what the team is going to pay for him? Does DC United have that money? Where are they getting the money from? And so that's been my thing. It's not, the league paid for Clint Dempsey.
Right.
So who is it? Is it the league or the club that's going to be paying for Rooney? And if it's $16.2 million,
yeah.
And if this is the league, they're getting a deal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A deal.
Yeah.
But
so let me just tell you who the top guys were, right, for transfer fees. Okay, so number 1 was some dude called Ezekiel Barco. Remember him for $15 million?
Okay, yeah.
Okay, Ezekiel Barco from Atlanta United, $15 million. The second place guy was Michael Bradley for $10 million. So, $10 million for Michael Bradley. Jermaine Defoe for Toronto, $9.6 million. Clint Dempsey for $9 million. Miguel Amaron for $8.5 million. Okay, so we can argue that Ezekiel Barco, and by the way, didn't we say that we liked Ezekiel Barco? At the beginning of the at the beginning of the season, we said, yeah, he's a great guy. So we're not going to really badmouth him. But Ezekiel Barco, let me see. I'm trying to see how much. Let me see. Again, I want to see. He's a young guy, right? I mean, we essentially said
Yeah, didn't he score his first goal the other day?
he scored his first goal. He's a 19-year-old guy worth $19 million transfer fee, right? He's literally, won the Copa Sudamerica once. Okay, I'll give him credit for that. So if he's worth $19 million transfer fee, and how are we arguing about a $16 million transfer fee for Wayne Rooney? Now you might say, well, we got 5 or 10 years left on. We can get 10 years out of Ezekiel Barco. Okay, that's fine. So that sums up the, if we paid $19 million for him, we could probably sell him when he's 29 and get our money back. We can't really do that with Wayne Rooney, but okay, we'll use that. But what about, for example, the $10 million for Michael Bradley, a complete premiership loser, didn't do anything. Not what. So
yeah, the money thing is making me going. How is this can be happening? It's always been the thing I was looking at.
Yeah.
But the other thing is this is out of principle. So
Yeah.
he agreed based on principle.
Yeah.
So it doesn't sound like that there's any actual name on the dotted line that says that this is actually going to be happening. It's like, yeah, we'll do that. Let's make a deal.
Yeah. No, I think this is a no-brainer. Literally, if you're sitting next to me, you're saying, let's pay Lucas Milano. Lucas Milano was a $5 million transfer fee, right?
Yeah, $5 million.
$5 million, right? Nicolas Ladero was $6 million, and by the way, Giovanni Dos Santos was $7 million, which, by the way, I'd be like, I don't think that was a great deal at all. Okay, and Michael Bradley was $10 million. Believe me, this is a deal for someone with that kind of experience. And even if he played for 2 more years, okay, and you go, well, what about the age difference? There's a lot of guys here in America that we're paying a lot of money. Dempsey's not 22 years old.
Than him.
What's that?
Zlatan's older than him.
Zlatan's older than him by about 3 years. Dempsey's older than him by about a year, I think. So tell me again, if you're really that worried about them, not you in general, but if you're that worried about the money, how come there was no complaints when Carlos Vela came to town for $6 million, or Giovanni Dos Santos, who's been not a very good buy for $7 million?
Well, I think that Wayne Rooney, whether you love him or hate him,
Yeah.
I think that there's still some corners of the soccer supporter world
Right.
that they can't stand Manchester United for any reason, and so he gets a bad rap because of that.
Right.
And I know people that are out there that they just can't. And then also he plays at Everton.
Yeah.
I know people that they're not fans of that chauffeur.
Yeah.
So I can see how people are like, I don't want that guy coming over here
Right.
because they've never liked him.
Yeah.
So, but the way I look at it is, okay, so if he's coming, who's next?
Right. No, wait a second. We're not going to explore that who's coming, who's next thing. Okay? How come, for example, when David Villa came, who's 36 years old, right? No one batted an eye, right? No one bats an eye when Orlando's like, yeah, Carl Beckerman, yeah, we'll take him. No one bats an eye when freaking Chris Wondolowski is 35 years old, or DeMarcus Beasley is 35 years old, or get this, Alan Gordon is 36 years old and still freaking with Chicago, right? So the whole age thing, and I've said before and I say it again, listen, there are no young players and there are no old players, just crap players and good players. So you tell me, would you rather have Alan Gordon and Carl Beckerman or DeMarcus Beasley on your team, or would you have Wayne Rooney?
I'll take Wayne Rooney.
Yeah, well, so again, there's articles that are written in America like, this is bad for MLS. This is bad. And there was one.
Well, there was that one article that there's a guy out there saying that Wayne Rooney needs this more than the league.
That is the biggest bullshizzle article. I put it down on my Facebook page. It's like I think four.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Hold on a second. Rooney comes over here. You've automatically got kit sales.
Yeah.
You're gonna get butts and seats for this brand new stadium.
Yeah.
Then you're gonna have this huge media focus on the new opening of the stadium.
Yeah.
And going to have all this hoopla going on.
Right.
And you very well know that there's going to be defenders in this league going, oh, my God.
I gotta deal with this guy.
Seriously, like, oh,
Yeah.
God. Like, you know,
Yeah.
and I'm not trying to make a dig, but remember what he did to Seattle back in, 2011? Like, you know, in the friendly where Manchester United won, like,
Right.
2-1 or something like that?
Yeah.
Like they weren't even trying.
Yeah. No, I have no. Listen.
So this is a guy that, like, he doesn't care. Like,
No.
like he's
No, but the guy who wrote that article, Phil, the guy who wrote that article is got to be the biggest dipshit out there. Like I mean, like I pretty much think that Forbes needs clickbait articles on soccer because it's like you're talking like first off, I love MLS. I love it. I've been talking about it for 14 years now. This is I've been doing this since 2005, right? I've been watching it since 1996. You can't if you badmouth MLS, I'm gonna come after you, right? But if you say that MLS doesn't need Wayne Rooney needs MLS, I sort of will say, listen, then you don't know anything about soccer. Wayne Rooney can go right now to China and make millions more and do nothing. Just relax, right? The same way Zlatan can do it, the same way Ashley Cole can do it, by the way, who's 37 years old and still one of the best left backs, if not the best left back in MLS. Wayne Rooney can go to any championship team and make more money there than any team can pay him in Major League Soccer. And on top of that, Steven Gerrard wants Wayne Rooney to go to Scotland. So you think he's going to make money there and literally just have one meaningful match once a season or 3 times a season with Celtic and just really relax. Wayne Rooney does not need American soccer, you know, in any way, shape, or form. You know, when players like this, go ahead.
So, if he retired, people would be like, "What a fantastic career!"
Yeah.
So, like, the soccer world, if you want to get even more specific,
Yeah.
the soccer world would be fine without Wayne Rooney.
Yeah.
He doesn't need anyone, and no one needs him.
Right.
He's a fantastic player who has lots of skill.
Right.
Why not bring him to MLS? I mean, like I said, if he comes, who's going to come next, and who's going to follow him over?
Yeah.
And what's this league going to turn into? Because now all of a sudden it's like, you know, instead of going to China where you can just get a paycheck.
Right.
Look, you can live high on the hog in some of these cities in the United States.
And on top of that, he's coming to a city that no one wants to go to, right? Everyone who wants to come to America wants to play either in Florida, in LA, in New York.
Like the joke.
Yeah.
You know?
No one's going to play in Philadelphia. No one's going to play in, freaking Dallas, right? This guy wants to go to DC United. You know, that shows you how committed he is. Like, no, when was the last superstar that went to DC United?
Last superstar?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Marco Echeverri? Let me tell you right now, the last superstar that wanted to come to DC United, right, was Paul Gascoigne, okay? Paul Gascoigne's last throws, last efforts to be.
Wanted to come over, yeah.
Do you remember that? He wanted desperately to change his uts. He wanted to change himself. He wanted to go from that alcoholic, sick guy to love his football, and he came over here. And at that time, that the guy who's a commentator for BN, he was the manager. He just got the job because Miami folded, and can you imagine the balls on DC United to have Paul Gascoigne, who just maybe 6 or 7 or 8 or 10 years earlier was just an amazing player, that he trialed with DC United, and the guy said no, he wasn't good enough. He's got too many issues. And then the whole freaking thing just fell apart for him. But that was the last time an honest-to-goodness, legendary player, wanted to come to DC United. It's taken that long, from 97 or 8 or whatever it was, till now. And suddenly it's like, no, it's a bad idea. We don't need Paul Gascoigne. Yeah, you freaking do. DC United have a brand new stadium they need to fill up next year. You think they're going to come and, you think they're going to watch, Paul Arriola, who makes $1 million and hasn't done jack diddly, in my opinion, this season? You're going to fill up stadiums with that guy? I don't know about that. So the idea that MLS doesn't need him, no, MLS needs him. Believe me. And by the way, No one complained when Tim Howard came to town at 39 years old, or how Nick Raimondo is still playing at 38. So I think it's a complex. Everyone was complaining that Ashley Cole was.
And the downside is the fact is there are millions of American soccer fans right now that are hearing this story going, I want him to come.
Yeah.
I want to see him. I will pay money to go watch him.
Yeah.
And you get these sources of negativity that come out that can't they can't stop their bias from affecting them. And it's like, come on, man. Like really, there's also been this talk about Fernando Torres coming to MLS
to Chicago. I'd love it.
And Chicago is number one on the discovery list, which is a bunch of hogwash because you don't discover players that have won the world. I mean, I'm sorry.
That's a bullshizzle. Yeah, I discovered him.
Well, Wilmer Cabrera jokingly admitted that they put Latin on the discovery list when he was over at Chivas USA.
Yeah.
Just as a way to possibly stick it to LA if they ever got him. They figured he'd end up in LA.
Yeah. Good luck with that.
And so clubs all over the league right now.
Yeah.
Like if you're wherever you're listening right now.
Yeah.
Your local club right now is saying that they've discovered world-class players.
Yeah.
As a way to try to have an in on that, and it's the way the league is. And I think it's kind of silly that the league is like, you totally discovered Mikel Silvestre, Seattle. You get to have him before Portland, and it's like, no one discovered him.
Yeah. Arsene Wenger is now like just turning in his sleep, going, "Oh man, Seattle discovered that guy," and he's the guy that knows every player in the world. Yeah, it's that discovery rights thing is nonsense. But whatever works, right? But let me get you this: who do you think's the top player, as in paid player at DC United right now?
The top paid player?
Yeah.
Well, if it's not Areola, it's got to be, what's their designated player that they're...
No, they have one designated player. That's Areola.
Is it Areola?
Yeah. So I'll tell you, that's the top player, paid player is Zoltan Stieber, all right, the Hungarian international who has played for Hungary, I think, 22 times. He gets paid $1 million. Last year, he gets $999,999.96, so just below the $1 million, salary thing. And last year, he essentially scored 3 goals. Last year he scored 1 goal during the season. That's their top player they're paying for. Paul Areola, who played 10 matches, didn't score 1 goal. He's a midfielder, obviously. That's not really his job. He needs to get the ball to, Sebastian Letou, who scored twice. And Sebastian Letou is essentially retiring. He's probably going to retire. But, if you think about who they have, he just retired. He was the guy. But for whatever it's worth, there hasn't been a proper forward there for a while. You can't count on anyone, you can't really count on anyone scoring goals at DC United anymore. There's a manager there that I think is probably going to get fired as soon as the new stadium opens up. All right, and you can email me on that one, simonalsoccer@yahoo.com. But if you look at it, Darren Mattocks, who came in from Portland, he's the top guy over there as an out and out striker. Everyone else, I can't, I don't see, if any DC United fans are complaining, they should just be quiet. Who's going to be scoring the goals this season for you? Because it doesn't look like anything's happening right now.
I don't see how DC is going to have the production numbers to be able to compete with the rest of the East.
No,
they've got to bring in somebody with the caliber, like Wayne Rooney that is going to be putting in double digits.
Yeah,
you just know he is. So I'm confident that's going to happen. I had this really weird feeling the other day when I saw Sebastian Letou's tweet where he announced that he was officially retiring, and I'm like, okay. And then 2 days later, I hear Wayne Rooney, DC United, and it's like, well, then it has to actually be happening.
There is a correlation, that's for sure. There is a correlation. Listen, it's kind of a no-brainer if you think about, watching watching the DC United team right now, just with the personnel they have. You got a guy in Paul Arriola, which, you and I are fans. I mean, if I remember correctly, you're a fan, right?
A fan of Paul Arriola?
Yeah.
I've always been fond of, of him and the idea of seeing him play more.
Yeah.
But the more and more that I've watched him, I don't know. Maybe it's because of the players that he has around him. He's not, he had his experience in Mexico. I think maybe like the playing style that he's used to has been suited with them, with the United States or with DC. So, maybe with somebody like Wayne Rooney who can come in and then almost be like this, player coach for these guys, it might be something to get the productivity up. Because that was always the thing about Arriola that I was always, wondering what was going on. Like, where is he going to be producing besides just running up and down the sideline and crossing the ball?
Well, if you look at their sort of formation, and I'll be honest with you, I'm not a huge fan of what DC United's really doing at this point. When it comes to their formation, what they do is they put one guy up front, right? And I think that was Mullins in the last game, and then they surround him by essentially, really kind of weird. I think Acosta and Segura were right behind him forming a triangle, and Stieber and Assad were sort of on the flanks. Mullins isn't scoring goals. Acosta isn't really getting forward, and I'm not quite sure what the sort of the attacking or the defensive, center backers are doing. I'm okay with the defenders, right? But they need that one guy that just sits. I mean, and again, it's kind of hindsight. Take off Mullins, right, from this lineup, and essentially put Wayne Rooney where Mullins is, just in the regular lineup, and get the balls to him. Just put the balls in front of him, a foot or two, and watch him score goals. To the point where it's just kind of a no-brainer at this point.
Yeah, I mean, it totally makes sense.
Yeah.
I hope that it happens. I think it would be great for the league, and I don't know when DC is coming to Portland, and I don't know if they're coming to Seattle, but, I'm going to be, cross-referencing schedules now.
Yeah.
And I would love to hand over some of my hard-earned money to see this guy play in an official American competitive match that's, meant to be played for winning a trophy. So, that'd be great.
If for example, if Wayne Rooney plays 2 years, Zlatan plays 2 years, I'm okay with it. You know what? A lot of people are saying, for example, Paul Arriola or this guy, there's a good 10 years. There's a good 10 years of soccer in them. That's why they're worth their money. Yeah, that's good. I might not be around 10 years from now. I'm certainly not going to put money down to watch Paul Arriola. I'm just using him as an example.
Here's the question I would ask is that money that you're giving them going to basically help you win?
Yeah.
Or is it going to just have good players for 10 years?
Yeah.
I want to have, if I'm going to be, take from a fan's perspective,
yeah,
I want my club to be bringing in winners.
Yeah.
That's going to win, get trophies. And if this is the amount of money that they have to spend on a guy to do it, then why not? And, I understand how certain players have certain value, but if they're not the kind of guys that are showing results of being winners,
right.
Where's DC at right now? They're in the tank, man.
Yeah, deadlock. I mean,
they're not doing good at all.
Yeah.
And so, you also have to start putting yourself into the perspective of, does Wayne know the situation that this club is in?
Yeah.
And is this a motivating factor for him? Like saying, I'm going to come in and save these guys?
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to crown him like the savior, but,
it can't be.
It would help them in their current scenario.
I'm hoping Dave Casper, right, who's the general manager of DC United, looks at like what's going on at LA Galaxy, right? With all due respect to both these clubs, all right? You can't just bring in a top quality player like Zlatan and surround him by guys with like Perry Kitchen, you know, and go, yeah, he's good. Or you need to bring in another, you know, like there's a reason why, like in the first couple of games, Ashley Cole was the assist guy, you know, for Zlatan. And then when the formations changed, it was like, wait a second, why is Ashley Cole staying in the back? He needs to move forward because the rest of the team aren't even getting close to what Zlatan's doing. So it's the same thing's going to happen at even more so at DC United. So Ben Olsen, you know, might have to just adjust and say, listen, we need to get another player in here that's going to work well with Wayne Rooney. Maybe get another player in that, you know, that can sort of complement him, and then there might be. Now you said people are going to think he's a savior. I think that's the one problem. I think if a lot of American fans and a lot of fans in general are going to think that Wayne Rooney's going to come in there and it's going to be like you got Pele, and you're going to win everything like the old New York Cosmos, that might be a problem.
Well, it always seems to be like the reoccurring theme that you see around the league with multiple clubs.
Yeah.
Like remember, you know, with the Sounders, they brought in Obafemi Martins, and everyone was like, "Oh, this guy's going to be the guy. He's gonna lead us." And then all of a sudden, you know, they're able to get Dempsey, and then you see this on other clubs too. You know, where Schweinsteiger gets picked up by Chicago, and he was supposed to, you know, lead them and all that. And so I'm hoping that that's not the theme that people catch on to, because in all reality, you know, we know the real reason why Wayne Rooney would be brought into MLS, and it's primarily, unfortunately, to possibly help the club out with additional finances from sales, possibly bring in more talent.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm very happy with that part of it. I'm ecstatic.
I don't think it's a bad idea at all.
No.
I think it makes complete sense. Bring somebody in that's going to attract more people to want to be on this team, you know, from a player perspective, you know?
I got no problem with it, man.
Who wouldn't want to play with that guy?
If Wayne Rooney brings along, you know, another player from Everton or a player from Manchester United, or hell, brings his brother along, I don't care. Bring him. You know, if that's going to help ticket sales, if that's going to get bums in seats, if that's going to win games, I have no problem. Quite honestly, this whole idea of, well, what about the youth and the future? You know what? That's bullshit. You know, the future, you cannot predict what's going on. You have to win now. You have to win this year. And if you're bringing no club in the world worth its salt, worth its weight in freaking donuts and beans, right, is going to say, you know what, I'm going to bring in these 5 15-year-olds, and you know what's going to happen is 10 years from now, we're going to win. You know what's going to happen? The fans will say, I'll see you in the stadium 10 years from now. All right? So the whole idea that we need youth, that's great. You need youth to fill in the gaps. You need youth to run. Okay? But what you need is players to win matches and win cups. All right? You tell me, you know, the difference between the 1996 DC United when they were essentially having an easy time selling tickets to the stadium, you know, and one now. Tell me the difference. It's because in 1996, the biggest stars in the league were at DC United. You wanted to go watch Echeverri.
And they were dominating.
Right. It's no surprise when Hawks was there and Echeverri was there and all those guys were there. Those are the biggest stars at the time. And the seats were filled, even though they were in RFK and you couldn't really get them filled. They were easy to sell tickets, and they won. What's the difference now? There's no stars there. No one wants to, unless you're hardcore, no one wants to see it. And you're complaining that Wayne Rooney is just, what, 2 years a little bit older is 1 year younger than Clint Dempsey. That's what you're complaining about. So the idea that it's going to get more players, I love it. The idea that it's going to sell more T-shirts, I love it. More fans, I love it. You know what? People complain that the atmosphere in American soccer, you know, stadiums aren't European. Yeah, it's certainly going to get a European if a bunch of rowdy English guys comes over and, you know, start yelling and screaming. That might be fun, you know. So,
well, another thing to point out is before Zlatan signed with the league, I bought a ticket for a match in July.
Right.
I tried to even see if tickets that game were it's out of my price range now.
Yeah.
And
Oh, 100%.
So it's not impossible to get a ticket, but if I didn't have this gut feeling, I might as well get a Galaxy ticket while I'm down there.
Right.
Now it's gone because of Zlatan's presence.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to afford to go now.
No, I mean, I talked to
this
some.
is important in so many ways more than what we see on the field.
100%. I couldn't agree with you more. I talked to someone at LA Galaxy, right? And I said, "Oh man, so much better now, right? The stadium's full." And the dude was like, "Yeah, last year, people were telling us that why would they watch the LA Galaxy when they can watch the LA Galaxy 2 for free?" And I'm like, "Well, what does that mean?" He goes, "The fans were telling them the LA Galaxy was essentially just the LA Galaxy 2. They were that bad." And I go, "What about now?" And he goes, "Now they're calling us. The fans are calling us. Do you have tickets?" Before we were calling them. And I'm like, holy, that is one guy doing that? One guy, if one guy comes in and suddenly the phone is ringing off the hook, okay? And I think I've discussed this with you before. I remember a couple of years ago I was talking to someone in Major League Soccer, and I'm still friends with her, and I asked her, what is the net zero cost? What's the net zero on a ticket for the stadium? Like, what is the lowest amount of money you have to pay on a ticket to where no one's making any money? It's just net zero. And she looked at me and said, $30. Okay, so know that if you're paying $30 for a ticket, that your club is not making any money on you, really. You're essentially, there's no profit. You're just helping the club, but you're not really helping the club go out and buy better, corn dogs or...
If anything, your interest is being more fulfilled.
Yeah, you're there because, at that point, you're filling up the stadium and you're sort of saying, okay, I'm a fan and I'm going to do what I can. But the people who are of benefit, financial benefit, I'm not talking about fans or cheering or support. That's something else, and that doesn't have a monetary value. Fans are priceless. But I'm talking about monetary, right? If you're paying $100 for a ticket to watch the same thing as a guy buying $30, you're actually benefiting the team financially. So when a ticket goes up in price because someone comes in, it's actually better for the club. You're actually paying, $10 more for a ticket that you paid $10 less last year? You're actually paying for, let's say, that next superstar to come or that next kid who's in the academy to go through training. So the idea that, we're just wasting money on aging superstars is a fallacy. The ticket prices go up, and that money, dare I say, I hate to use this word because in economy I don't like to use it, but it trickles down to the academy, the youth, better food, better amenities, better halftime shows, because you essentially paid a little bit more for things to happen well in the future. So the idea that, we should invest in the future, you do invest in the future when you bring in a superstar and the ticket goes up $10, simply put.
And you and I have had this conversation about how we were both surprised that this was pre-Latin.
Yeah.
That Galaxy tickets were available in reserve seating way lower than the cost at the Portland Timbers.
Yeah.
Now you can't get those seats. Now they're gone. They're not available.
No, I mean, I get a call every day, Phil. Every day I get a call. Hey, my kids want to see Zlatan. Okay. What do you want me to do? Can you get tickets? I'm like, of course I can't. Of course I can't get tickets. I mean, if they're sold out, you have a really crappy team has to come to town, and maybe you can get one on the secondary market. And by the way, in Major League Soccer, there is no secondary market, right? You either go to the stadium or you buy it from ticket, whatever it is, a ticket place, right? No one's selling bootleg, or what's that word when you buy tickets from the? No one buying it from a scalper. Scalpers don't make money on these tickets. You know what I mean?
Well, I don't recall seeing scalpers in L.A., but we've got them in Portland. They're all over the place.
All right, well, I don't know any scalpers in L.A. because literally I don't know how they would make their money. If the ticket's $45, it's $45. I mean, if that's a good thing that they're scalpers. That means the value of that ticket is worth a lot more. Now those tickets are sold out. Maybe the next time I go, I'm going to see if there's any scalpers around. I hope they're not, because they're getting. I'm sure they'll get caught. But now the price, now something that you value, American soccer, your team, suddenly the value's gone up because there's one superstar coming. How is that not good for? How is Wayne Rooney actually need MLS rather than MLS needs Wayne Rooney? The value of this product on the pitch just went up. So regardless of the football, which by the way will be good, he's not a slouch. People forget Wayne Rooney can still play, and playing in the Premiership, is a tad harder than playing in Major League Soccer, with all due respect, right? So, I mean, can we say that he might score 10 goals in the first season?
I wouldn't be surprised if he puts up double digits if he shows up in the summer to the end of the season.
Yeah, why not? And that's
I wouldn't be surprised one bit. And if not,
yeah,
the number of assists and goals combined would be
right. Or how about just the fact that he's going to walk onto the pitch during an academy session, and every kid's going to go, "Oh wow, that's Wayne Rooney," and I'm on the same pitch as he is, and we're going to do really, really well. I'm going to be just as good as him when I grow up.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Or he's going to. I mean, to me, that I think is it. And it's and quite honestly, if if he didn't have such a hard time at Everton, I think he'd still probably be there. He still wouldn't want to come. And
now,
if he didn't,
here's a question I have, right? Just to hypothesize.
Yeah.
Could this very well be another one of those ploys that we see some of these guys do?
Yeah.
That aren't really happy with their front office. Then they say, "I think I'm going to go to MLS."
Right.
And then there's all this hoopla that happens in the press. Then all of a sudden you find out about that guy getting a little bit more money handed to him.
I think that is a justified question. So I think yeah.
I mean, I haven't seen anything come out of Fat Sam's mouth that indicates there's a salary issue.
Yeah, I think Fat Sam just doesn't like him. All right, and you saw that when he took him off the.
Maybe he doesn't like how much he costs. I mean, he's so expensive.
Well, then
I mean, it's like you look what you're paying for and look what you're getting, and of course he's easy to not like.
Who's not? Who? True. True.
I mean, if you're looking at it from a management perspective,
yeah,
and you see this guy who looks to be on his last throws,
yeah,
really isn't. It's just that the Premier League is like moving beyond his pace. So
that's a really good question, right? Let's put it this way. I'm not sure.
Or is he trying to get more money out of China? Who knows what's going on, man?
No, Wayne Rooney, for whatever it's worth, it's a tough one. I kind of, he scored 11 goals. He's a top scorer for Everton, right? So there shouldn't be any issue. I mean, if you're scoring 11 goals for Everton this season, that isn't a shabby tally.
11 goals in the Premier League, solid.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's good. I mean, that's up there. I want to see who's probably. I mean, like, I forget who the other guy is. That I think maybe it's Calvert-Lewin or something. I don't know. I mean, he's the top goal scorer. So he's not Mo Salah, but he's the top goal scorer for Everton. So he's scoring in the Premiership. Now, whether he's scoring against Huddersfield or Manchester United is a different story. But he's still scoring in the Premiership. That should translate quite easily to Major League Soccer, and that should translate to the manager saying, "Well, I need the guy who's gonna make up 11 goals," right? So I don't think it's a money issue. I think it's just like maybe he just doesn't like Sam Allardyce. Maybe he just doesn't want to be at Everton, and maybe he wants a new challenge.
Yeah. Well, I hope he definitely does decide that if it's I want to have a new challenge. I want to come to the United States. I want to be where I see people that I respect playing.
Yeah,
that'd be awesome to see. And
maybe, and also I want to play for a team that doesn't have 3 managers in one season. Right?
That would definitely help. I mean, also think about like the weight that's on his shoulders going back to his old home club. And,
yeah.
And all that. And things aren't working out right. And it's just kind of end my career.
Yeah. I would say there's a lot of benefits for coming to America. He could probably walk around DC United, just go buy a loaf of bread without anyone really bothering him. You know, you can whiz back to England anytime. You know, on the plane. It's not too far. If he's in LA, it'd be take a little longer. You know. He's going to be playing in some, in decent weather most of the time, and then he's going to have to go to these hot-ass places where it might be a problem, but who knows? He's played in hot-ass places before. Okay, go for it. And I hope it's more than just, bullshizzle that he does show up, that he is, a proper, candidate to come to America because, who knows who is more disgruntled than he is in Everton. Maybe he can bring a few players with him and really change. And DC need a proper player to reignite the passion they had in the early 90s or the mid-90s. They need that, and he's the guy. With that said, we've talked an hour about Wayne Rooney, and we're done. Phil, you still with me?
Yeah, I'm here, man. Like, I've always wanted this league to turn into a league that has been bringing in, more than the random really good player that everyone respects and knows, but then you don't see one for a while. And
right.
I would just, like to see more clubs getting better players, and I can understand if you want to do the academy homegrown system, but what we're starting to see is if you don't invest in player personnel at the top level, end, you're going to struggle in this league.
Yeah.
Well, and Seattle's finding this out the hard way without having a proper, in my opinion, proper nine. I mean, people might want to point out to me that Will Bruin scored this weekend, and I'm like, I know he scored, but think about what it would be like if you were somebody that, possibly could get Fernando Torres, that could be someone that has a very good record of scoring, but other clubs are. And so if Seattle doesn't get their act together, they could be missing out on some opportunities to really show the league that they're willing to use that big pile of cash they get from all those people that buy tickets.
Yeah. Well, I mean, right now there is, when it comes to Seattle, and I've always thought, listen, and wrongly sometimes I say, there are ratings takers and there's ratings makers, right? You can't look at the stadium and say that the ratings are there. It has to be the football. It's the football, right? And sometimes it has to be who's on the pitch. With all due respect to Seattle Sounders, right? Their biggest name is Clint Dempsey, right? You can argue with Roman Torres. You can argue about Christian Roldan. You can argue about Nicolas Lodiera. You can even argue about, Will Bruin, right? But the biggest name is still Clint Dempsey, right? So Seattle has the luxury of filling up that stadium with hardcore fans, and I can respect that, right? Toronto, for example, is close to that too, but their biggest name is Sebastian Giovinco, right? Tell me the biggest name in San Jose Earthquakes, or better yet, tell me the biggest name at Columbus Crew.
Well, Columbus Crew, if it's not Higuain, who is?
There is no big name. There is no guy that's.
I'm just saying if it's not that guy because he's a playmaker.
Yeah.
Who is it?
Well, there is no. The Columbus Crew has no, with all due respect to Harrison Offal and all due respect to Zach Steffen and all due respect to even, to Will Trapp and Jesse Zardes, there is no big name. So when you are losing at home, there is no reason for you to come and watch Columbus Crew. With all due respect to Columbus Crew, you know what? Let me skip Columbus Crew and let's go. Let me go to Philadelphia because I want to talk to the Philadelphia Union coach when he comes to town. So let me talk to him. Let me just talk about Philadelphia. Philadelphia Union has literally no one on the pitch that has a proper name that is recognizable in America or worldwide. Okay? Andre Blake, to me, is a great goalkeeper. Okay? Other than that, I don't see anyone on that team to where I can go, yeah, if they're losing, I still want to see. I don't know. I can't even tell you. There's no one. I'm looking at the list.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah, but LA Galaxy are losing right now, and they're not playing very well. Yet, I guarantee when they come to your town, the stadium will be full because Zlatan's there. There you have it. There's the reason why you need to go invest in a player like Wayne Rooney or Zlatan Ibrahimovic. All right? Simple. If you're not winning, at least you're filling up the stadium. Simply done.
Well, I definitely would agree that if that's not the way that your club is doing it,
Yeah.
you have to start asking yourself why. And if it is an actual financial issue, well, then, expect
Sell.
what you see then right now.
Sell your club.
Don't expect anything else.
No, sell your club. Sell your club to someone who can listen. There's people out there who want to buy clubs. Sell it to where you can say, listen, I got it all the way to here. Let me go ahead and get it. Let me sell it to someone who can make it a worldwide brand, and I'll be part of history. Sell it. I mean, there's only a limited amount of space, and that was what's wrong. That was what was wrong with the old NASL, right? The NASL had essentially Warner Brothers running the Cosmos, and they had a bunch of guys with hot dog stands running the rest of the league. You know what I mean? Guys with like 3 restaurants and a gas station thinking they could compete with that, and riding off the coattails. If you can't get players, then sell it to someone who will, because the fans deserve more. Unless with the players that you get, you can make winners out of them, like trophy winners. Okay, simple. I'm not saying that this that's the I'm not saying that they should do that. I'm just saying that in theory, if you can make these non-named athletes winners and pump the stadium full of fans and become a great franchise, do it. But if you can't, just get someone in that I want to see. When Dallas comes to town, I'm like, is there anyone I want to see? I mean, after the football's come and gone, is there someone that I want to watch?
Yeah, I don't think people really go to see Mauro Diaz.
Yeah, no. I've said it. I mean, I've been saying it.
He's one of their most important players.
Yeah, it doesn't matter to me if it's you're the most important player. It doesn't really matter if Roland Lama or Mena Figueroa is a huge guy at FC Dallas. I kind of want to see a player that I'm gonna go, wow, that guy's amazing. I saw that guy playing at Real Madrid. I saw that guy playing at AC Milan.
And case in point, when I went to the Timbers match against New York, I was like, I'm so excited to see David Villa.
Yeah.
Like and he was crap.
It doesn't. Yeah, exactly.
He didn't do anything.
Yeah.
It was probably one of the most disappointing,
performances. Yeah.
Performances of a big name player that I was excited to go see.
Yeah.
I mean,
does it matter? Yeah. Did it matter to you?
I don't think I saw John Scholes I don't think I saw Paul Scholes sprint when Manchester United came to town.
Yeah.
But I saw him do maybe a half dozen one-time volley passes that were like perfect.
Yeah.
That were like some of the most unbelievable looking passes you'll see, and I was unbelievably blown away by that.
Yeah.
Because but David Villa did crap.
Yeah. and no one bloody cared. No one bloody cared because they want to see David Villa. Simple. And by the way, it's a plus when New York City FC wins, right? If they don't, well then there you go. You got to see a superstar.
For me, it was like a win-win. It was like the Timbers win. Well, then I took my son to the match. And my son's going to be able to see that the Timbers win a game, and that makes it worth it.
Yeah.
Or if David Villa does a good job, like, hey, I really wanted to see him do a good job. But that's just how it is sometimes. And so and that's the relative risk that you get when you start getting into these older players that still perform. Is once in a while they have crap games.
Yeah.
And it's just like everybody else. And so
wait. So
it's not our job to criticize them for it, because I still look at David Villa as like one of the more threatening players in the league, and I look forward to seeing what he does every week.
Let me tell you this: how many crap games has Jordan Morris had?
season,
Okay.
but before that, a lot.
Okay, there you have it. There's the comparison. Everyone has crap games. Young American talent that you pay too much for, and old foreign superstars you pay too much for. It's just part of the game. I just rather, me personally, I just rather see a foreign superstar come in and do stuff.
The reason why there's a lot of people in Portland that felt like Lucas Milano got the short end of the stick is because when he scored goals, sometimes they mattered.
Yeah.
And so there were still like some of those diehards that couldn't see the forest of the trees, no pun intended.
Yeah.
When it was like, dude, this guy's horrible. Get rid of him.
Yeah.
You know, like he's not worth the money. He's not worth the price of admission.
And I think you hit it on the head, Phil. What is worth the price of admission? You know, and I want everyone out there to email me simonallensoccer@yahoo.com. For them, for you out there, is it the club winning? Is it superstars, or is it both, or is it something else? I know one guy was like, in Philadelphia was like, I really don't care anymore. I just go there to hang out with my friends. And I'm like, well, if that's it, that's an easy one. Then the front office doesn't have to do much. But we'll go from there.
Well, I can tell you what I want. When I go to a match, I go just to expect to watch a good quality played match where hopefully there's a winner. I can't stand draws.
Right.
So in that case, I want goals.
Yeah.
I want to see goals scored. I want to see some action. I want to see aggressive, clean, competitive soccer. And if the team that I'm going, that I hope wins, that makes it even better. But there's been some other times where, like, I was at that match where David Beckham scored like those two ridiculous goals in Portland, and LA runs out of town winning 5-2.
Yeah, that was great.
And it was like Chris Boyd scored a goal.
Yeah.
And I watched it going, man, that was a fantastic. That game was worth every penny, even though the team that I wanted to win got destroyed.
Yeah.
It was just wow. I watched that. That was fantastic. So that's where I stand. I want to see something, and I'm very happy that most of the time that I've been to the games in LA, for the exception of the first one, there's been some goals and some action and some fun. So.
You know what? It just comes down to me, it's like there's so much to do in America than watch a football game. And I say this with a little tongue-in-cheek, but Americans can find any excuse to not go to a soccer match. And so it's a very hard job for a franchise to essentially say, listen, we got all this, ignore the stuff, the shiny objects around you, come to the match. And I'm going to tell you straight up, it's a lot easier to essentially tell someone, we got Zlatan. I got to tell you, I literally went to an LA Galaxy 2 game because they were playing Arizona, or I forget which team, that Didier Drogba was on. I'm sorry, but watching LA Galaxy 2 is not high up on the list of stuff I want to see. With all due respect, I like the team, but I made it a point to get tickets to go see Didier Drogba. That is evidence enough that fans flock to see a second division match with quite a subpar team to see one player, a superstar. A 40-odd-year-old player, by the way, I forget how old he is, probably 42 or something, who scored 2 goals at that time. With that said, it's a beautiful night here in Los Angeles, Phil. I'm going to go out, maybe, I don't know, get an iced tea or something.
Well, it's high allergy season in the Portland area. It's not fun for me to go outside.
I want to tell my listeners this. I had an opportunity last week to cement a spot in Russia, to go to Russia and stay there for a month. So I think I'm telling you for the first time too. But it would involve me. I got a pretty decent part-time job. I'm an artist by trade, and I've got a really good gig redoing a cafe like I did last year. I'm doing the Bangers and Match show. I'm doing the FoodBall show. And quite honestly, I kind of went, you know what? 22-year-old Simon Allen, Dalai Lama of soccer would have got a duffel bag, put some stuff in it, waved goodbye to the farm and gone. 40-year-old Simon Allen was like, you know what? I'm going to watch it at home. I'm gonna watch it at home. So and then do my podcast, obviously. But, folks, listen. I want you to go to the YouTube channel, FoodBall Network, watch the Bangers and Match episodes. One of the episodes had 15,000 views, and the other one had a little less. I kind of want you to just watch them all. And then look out for the FoodBall show where we've predicted get this, we've predicted the World Cup. We've taped it, and we're taping it, and 1 month before the World Cup even starts, and we're going to put it out as the games go on to see who's right. And we're going to talk about food. So just imagine, we've made the predictions, we're talking about it, and we've taped it, and we've put our money where our mouth is. We're going to air the shows as, when the matches are done to see who's right and who's wrong. How does that sound even, Phil? Does that sound weird or what?
It'll be exciting to see, that's for sure.
I know either I'm going to be the most wrongest, is that even a word? The most wrongest Dalai Lama of soccer, or the most coolest right person in, I don't know, whatever. With that said, go ahead and do that. Email me at simonallensoccer@yahoo.com, simonallensoccer@yahoo.com. Be my friend on Facebook, Simon Allen Soccer Radio, and Twitter Twitter is Dalai Lama Soccer. Don't forget to go ahead and like Dalai Lama Soccer and FoodBall Network and FoodBall Show. And just, my new co-hosts, by the way, are awesome. I want to do a big shout out to Renata and Mary Lou. And by the way, these two co-hosts are going to be superstars a year from now, and I'll still be doing this podcast while they're out touring and making millions. I guarantee it. They're superstars already. And like I've been saying for many years, it ain't tricking if you got it. So thank you. And without you, I'm simply talking to thin air. Thank you, Phil, for joining me once again. It's always a pleasure.
Hey, thanks for having me on. It was a lot of fun. I love going back and forth to you about soccer. It's a lot of fun, man.
It's almost easy when Wayne Rooney comes to town, isn't it? Like, we can talk about it for 4 hours, but we only have an hour.
I could go on and on.
Yeah. Well,
about all sorts of other things that we could point out.
Yeah.
Like,
it's good.
Precedent for why it's a great idea. I mean, remember when Chicago brought in Stoichkov?
Yeah, I love that. With that said, have a great night, everyone. Spread the word, share. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.